This video was made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. You know you can still make mistakes even if you're a perfectionist, right? This episode of Mimi's Art is called Perfectionism. I used to call myself a perfectionist. I struggled with perfectionism for pretty much all my life until a year or two ago. I just want to talk about how perfectionism, just as a concept, doesn't make any sense. See, perfectionism is wanting something to be flawless, but literally everything has flaws. You have flaws, I have flaws, even Shadow the Hedgehog has flaws in theory. And that's okay. If nobody had flaws, we'd all be really boring. Like, really boring. One of the first rules of storytelling is to make characters that have flaws. Once I went to this event where an author was talking about how to make interesting characters, and at the end of it, he handed out these papers summarizing everything he said. And on the list, one of the first things was characters need flaws. Why? Because flawed characters are interesting. Perfect characters are boring as heck. A while back, I had a phase where I listened to analysis of different shows and movies. Not the most constructive use of time, but whatever. A running theme I noticed, especially when people were critiquing movies from that indie studio called Disney or something, whatever it's called, I don't remember, was that it seemed like people were too scared to add flaws to their characters because it would make them, quote-unquote, unlikable. Them trying to not give their characters flaws gave them one of the worst flaws a fictional character can have, being mind-numbingly boring. A good example of a flawed character being interesting is Jinx from Arcane. She's vengeful, self-destructive, and misguided, but she's also creative, resourceful, confident, and a talented inventor. Despite being a fictional character, she feels real, quote-unquote, because real people have flaws. Have you ever met someone who didn't have any flaws? Unless you just said you met Shadow the Hedgehog, I didn't think so. You and I will never be perfect. The things we make and try to do will never be perfect. If you felt kind of sad hearing that, let me ask you this. What is perfect? What is the end goal here? Like, perfect according to some hazy concept of perfection, or perfect according to society standards? Perfectionism is a moving goalpost. Whenever you get closer to it, it moves further away, and you're no better off than you were before. So, why try? Like, why is perfectionism, of all things, the goal here? Why not just doing the best you can and ending up with a result you're happy with? I don't know about you, but I feel like that's a much healthier goal to strive for. Because wearing yourself out for some imaginary concepts just doesn't make sense. We might as well be wearing ourselves out for the square root of -1 at that point. It makes the same amount of sense. Look, if you have the kind of personality type that's constantly striving for self-improvement, hearing you'll never be perfect can be disappointing in a way. I know. Like, you know it's impossible, but part of you wants to reach some apex. Some point where you can look around and say, I made it. I can rest now. But here's the thing. You can literally do that whenever. You're free to stop and look around at everything you've accomplished and feel proud of yourself whenever you want. You're a person who needs rest and fun, not an ongoing project that needs to be constantly improved. Self-improvement is fun and important for growth, but it doesn't need to be all-consuming. Nothing does. You can just chill. Okay? Okay. Before I go on, I want to thank this video's sponsor, me! These videos take a lot of time and mental energy to make, so if you'd like to motivate me to make more videos like this, be sure to like, subscribe, comment if you want to say something, and give some hype points to this video. If that feature works on my videos yet, I don't know. I can't be bothered to check, but I hope so. Look, I know what you're thinking, because I'm psychic.
I thought the channel was called May Makes Art, not May Makes Motivational Speeches. When are you going to talk about art in this video? Are you going to at all? Does it touch you right? Can you ever hope to be as cool as Shadow the Hedgehog?
Since you're so insistent, I'll talk about how to not be a perfectionist with your art. One of the greatest video game franchises of our time would not be as popular, I think, without whopping plot holes and inconsistencies. And that franchise is, of course, Five Nights at Freddy's. Anyone who spent a frankly egregious amount of time listening to lore and theory videos about Five Nights at Freddy's, like me, can tell you that the guy who made it didn't plan to make any games as their first game and pretty much made up the lore of the games as he went along. There are so many plot holes that if you put them all together, you could park a car in them. But here's the thing. One of the most exciting things about Five Nights at Freddy's, to me and a lot of other people, wouldn't be possible without the plot hole. And that's theorizing. Plot holes, inconsistencies, and things that don't make sense are theorists' bread and butter. Theorizing about Five Nights at Freddy's and trying to make sense of every little detail is fun. Like, really fun. FNAF gave me an excuse to put a bunch of screenshots in freeform and connect them all together with red lines. I might have gone borderline insane, but what more could you ask for? And none of that would be possible if the guy who made FNAF planned everything out from the start. Sure, every little detail would make sense, but then that small YouTube channel you guys probably haven't heard of wouldn't have anything to theorize about. More importantly, I wouldn't have anything to theorize about. I still think Five Nights at Freddy's would be really popular even if the guy who made it planned everything out and there weren't any issues with the story. But a big part of its appeal is the mystery of it all. Its plot holes and retcons add to the mystery, making some of its greatest flaws enhance its greatest strength. So, how does this apply to your own art? Flaws can make a work of art interesting. They're like a little garlic powder sprinkled in your mashed potatoes. Which you should do, by the way. Garlic powder makes almost everything taste better. But anyway, in this day and age, I feel like being okay with letting flaws show in your work of art is incredibly important with so much AI slop floating around. Flaws are inherently human. AI can't accidentally leave a chip in a wood carving project it was working on, or forget to count stitches, or forget to draw Shadow the Hedgehog's ears and wonder why he looks weird. Only humans can do that. Because as much as tech companies want you to think otherwise, AI doesn't have a soul. If you want to stop being a perfectionist, here's my tips. First, if you call yourself a perfectionist, stop. Calling yourself a perfectionist is a comfortable crutch, but like any crutch, it gets in your way of doing things. You can use calling yourself a perfectionist for a variety of excuses. Whether it's not starting a new project or spending an obscene amount of time paying attention to detail you're just messing with out of anxiety. Second, if you're a fellow artist, don't spend a crazy amount of time trying to make your art look perfect. Like, make it look how you want it to look. Try and achieve your vision. But if you're just trying to make things look absolutely perfect at the expense of your mental health in, like, peace, then you need to stop and calm down and take a break, step back, come back to it later, and when you come back to it with fresh eyes, you should realize that spending a ton of extra time and anxiety trying to make it look perfect is not helping you at all. Okay? Okay. In my opinion, when it comes to art, getting something done is better than not getting anything done at all. And to end this video, I want to share a quote from Anne Lamott's book, Bird by Bird, a book about writing well. I think this quote doesn't just apply to writing, but to any kind of art. Perfectionism means if you try desperately not to leave so much mess to clean up. But clutter and mess show us that life is being lived. Clutter is wonderfully fertile ground. You can still discover new treasures under all those piles, clean things up, edit things out, fix things up, get a grip. Tidiness makes you think of held breath, suspended animation, while writing needs to breathe and move. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!